This is how to draw Sonic running from the Saturday AM show back in the day. Now we'll just start out with a circle shape for the head, like most drawings. And this particular pose of Sonic, he's not going to be running full speed. He's just going to be kind of jogging. And his head will be facing this direction. So we'll just draw this guiding line here to help us see how he's going to be looking. And we'll draw this line of action just going at this angle here. That represents the tilt of his body. So he's tilting this way. And we'll draw a little oval shape for his little body. His body's quite a bit smaller than his head. His head is really most of his body, bigger than his body probably, especially when you consider his spikes. So next thing we'll do is place his hand right here. And right here is about where his shoulders will be. So we'll just draw a swooping line here to connect his shoulder with his hand. And another one, so it's like a tube. We'll come back to add details to all this stuff later. Right now we're just getting the proportions. So then his other hand is going to be coming out here like this, near his face. And since his arm is further out from his body, his arm will be stretched out more. It won't be as curved as the other arm over here, which is a little bit closer to his body, like so. And then his leg will be strutting out here. We'll just draw like this ovally shape for where his shoe will be. And connect it from his bottom, like this. Feel free to pause the video at any time if you need to slow down. Right now, of course, we're sketching kind of lightly. And this is just a rough drawing to get the proportions. Let's see his shoe, the bottom of his shoe is going to be showing because it's coming at an angle like this. So it's kind of like a flying saucer. And then another one behind it, which will be the top of his shoe. And then the back foot will be right here. This foot is kind of coming more from the side. And then his leg connects like a tube. Alright, so that's the basic shape of his body. And then coming up here, we'll rough in where his spikes will go. So this line right here that determines the direction of his face, we'll just start up near the top and start sketching in a spike like this. It's just an arc. And actually, so he has 3 spikes that stick out for his head, but we'll just draw, just as a guiding line, this little arc, which will help us determine the shape of how his spikes will actually go. So this is a spike, curves in here, will come out and just meet the end of the arc, curves in. Alright, so now Sonic's face, his cheeks just kind of curve out like this, And his eye is just one big eye that has two pupils in it, and it curves down, around, and up into a peak point up here by the guiding line. So it peaks up here, then it starts to wrap around. So it kind of looks like this kind of looks like a slug, but that's the general shape of it. And then his face just curves around behind it, and his nose comes out here and sticks out to the side like this. And then the top of his eyes be like up here. So just imagine that his head is sectioned off into 3 segments. So like here's 1/3, here's another third, then up here is the final third. So just right here, this top third is where the tops of his eyes will be. So you just curve it around. He normally has a serious or determined look on his face. So his eyes shoot down like that. And he doesn't have eyebrows, but he has like these flaps that strut out above his eyes, suggesting the mass of where his eyebrows would be. So his eyes will be kind of looking at us right there. Just draw an eye almost in the middle, this white of his eye. Then another eye right over here where his eyebrow is shooting down, or his forehead rather, just kind of tucked behind it. And then the white of his eyes shining, the highlights. So then Sonic normally has a smile right over here. Kind of sells his attitude that he's pretty confident or cocky about the situation he's in. And his ears are right up here around the guiding circle we drew. Just draw his ear coming out like this. It's kind of just like a floppy triangle type shape. On later Sonic, or other versions of Sonic, he has more pointed ears, but the Saturday morning cartoon, his ears seem to be a little more floppy. And this is just the rough drawing to get in the proportions. But as you can see, I start out drawing really light, and I pick certain lines to emphasize, and I draw those darker. So his other ear is going to be kind of pushing against the wind, or the force of his body. See, his body's going this way so fast, so his ears are going to be kind of pushing against that force, kind of resisting it. So his ears being pulled back. And so now we'll come down and kind of finesse his arms. So first we'll draw in his hands, or his gloves. And his glove just kind of loops around like this, the top of the glove. You know, the classic cartoon glove. Mickey Mouse glove. So his hands are just going to be clenched in a fist, like this. And it comes up like that. We're just following the shape of the circle we drew. This has 3 fingers. Just draw those 3 fingers looping around. has a spike back here, and of course a tail. Bring this foot down, maybe just a little. Yeah, if he was going faster, his feet would be in like that circular shape you see in the games. It's like that kind of. Or sometimes it's in a figure 8 in the Sonic CD game. It's kind of like that. But he's just sort of accelerating. He's not going that fast yet, because he's posing for our drawing. And his shoes have that kind of glovey thing too around it. I don't know what this is called. Does anyone know what this is called? That white thing that goes around the shoe? Because I don't know. And of course he has that white strap. There we go. And this kind of comes around that. And his leg comes up and out. Under and over. Like that. Then we'll draw in his little white thing on the shoe. Again, not sure what this is called. Oh, in the comments, tell me who I should draw next. I was thinking of course, drawing Knuckles and Tails, but also drawing Sonic in all forms, like modern Sonic, you know, the different shows that Sonic has been in, Sonic Boom. That was quite a unique design. Maybe even the Sonic design on the new Sonic movie that's coming out. Of course, they said they're gonna redesign it. So, but I would like to draw the, you know, the one that all these memes have been made after. But what other Sonic characters should I draw? Like any deep cuts from the Sonic comics? I used to read those when I was growing up. Alright, so on his belly, he has a little flap of belly that's tan, same color of his arms. Just curves around like this. I think his spikes come out a little bit. His spikes were pretty big on the Saturday morning cartoon show. His character design was sort of inconsistent, but most of those Saturday morning cartoon shows were. I'm kind of merging this style with the American box art, giving him those fatter features, more rounded features. Japanese box art had more of an edge to it, in my opinion, which is weird because they tried to make it more edgy for America. All the Sega stuff always did. They'd do different box art, try to make it seem more cool. But I like both the Japanese and the North American art for Sonic. Alright, so his fingers come out a bit from the circle that we drew, and his pinky just wraps around right underneath the end of his thumb, like so. And then his other finger just curves under, same direction. Then his index finger is in the very back, also curves under. Need to fatten up this arm just a bit. Alright, so this is like the basic roughed in. Might color this in a different video, like do a speed coloring video. Might be cool. Draw some dust kicking up. He's really going fast. Fill in his shoes like this. Of course, if you were drawing this on paper at home, you could, if you drew this light enough, you could go over it and pen, and then erase the pencil marks. Or put another sheet of paper over it if you drew it too dark, and just trace over your rough drawing and make it a lot more clean. I'm not making this too clean, I'm just trying to rough it in. These are animation terms. Roughing in the drawing. Key pose. Oh, and another thing, this Saturday Sonic morning cartoon, it really shows the shape of his head. It shows the whole circle of his head. And how this front spike kind of comes into his head, like so. He kind of just has a mohawk. Whereas in the games, he had 3 rows of spikes. In the cartoon shows, excuse me, in the cartoon shows from the 90s, he was always depicted with just like 1 row of spikes. But now I'll just kind of shade in his body, just a little lighter than how I'm shading in his shoes. Just help to see a little more clearly what we're dealing with here. What kind of contraption I've created. Well, I think actually Sonic kind of is like a Frankenstein creature in some of the stories, to an extent. I mean, in a way. He's more like a superhero, Frankenstein. But I think in one of the origin stories, Robotnik was like doing something with him on a treadmill, and then there was like a freak accident and Sonic's shoes, something happened with Sonic's shoes, and that's how he got his speed. Otherwise he would have just been a regular Hedgehog. So in a way it's all about the shoes. If I had Sonic shoes, or if you had Sonic shoes, you could run super fast. Kind of makes sense because he's not actually that buff at all. Like, his body shouldn't be able to produce that speed. So it's all about the magical shoes. Of course, Knuckles isn't very buff. He's super strong. Maybe his gloves are magical. Of course, I'm probably looking into it a little too deeply, because Robotnik's supposed to be super smart, but he makes all these bad decisions. I kind of don't think he wants to catch Sonic, because he has too much fun building all these levels and these maze-like death traps for Sonic to try to escape. I think he just enjoys building zones and testing out new weapons and bosses for Sonic to take on. I think he secretly admires Sonic, like the Joker admires Batman. Which, by the way, I did a Batman drawing tutorial that you can click on, probably the info card or description box, I'm not sure, but it's on there. So yeah, this is how you draw the Saturday morning Sonic. Please let me know in the comments what you want me to draw next, and I'll do my best to do a tutorial demonstration for you that you can draw along with, and share this with other people who might like to learn how to draw cartoons, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for subscribing.